Hi guys, today we're going to be working on hexagons. This is going to be the one I demonstrate today. You only add the final corner row to the first one, and then you add it onto the other ones as you go. Or you can, what I like to do is make a bunch of the hexagons or squares, whatever pattern you're using with a join as you go. I like to make a bunch of them without that final row, and then I can just sew them all in and join them all together at one time. It's important to know how you want to join before you start, because if you do want to join as you go and you add on that final row onto all of the hexagons or all of the squares or all of whatever pattern you make, you're not going to be able to join on as you go unless you add an extra row to each one of those squares. So I've already made the center of what our project is going to be, but because the yarn is really dark and it will be hard for you guys to see it as well, I'm going to do an example in this brighter yarn so that you can hopefully see just a little bit better. To start, we're going to hold our yarn with our thumb and our middle finger just loosely. We're going to wrap the yarn over, crossing it as we go, and wrap it around. I usually just hold it with my other finger. You want to take this bottom loop, get it over the top loop, and then we're going to be using that bottom loop to pull up. So we do chain 1, 2, 3, 4. We take our hook, we go into that very first chain, put in a slip stitch, so we grab the yarn, pull it through, and just pull it through. And now we've got our loop in here. It's a little harder to see because it's a smaller chain. We're going to chain up 3. That counts as a double crochet. And now we're going to put in 11 more double crochet into that center loop. So we're going to yarn over. We're going to put our hook through the center loop. We're going to grab that yarn. We're going to pull it through, keeping our tail along with that loop so we can work it in and don't have to do it later. Grab the yarn, or yarn over, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. And we're going to do 10 more of those. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to go in that center, keeping the tail with that center, grab the yarn, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over into the center loop, grab that yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we want to go back and double check to make sure we have 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So now to join, we are going to look at our chain 3 that we started with, and we're going to count up 1, 2, and 3. And we're just going to slip our hook into that 3rd chain, grab that yarn, pull it through, and just pull it through for another slip stitch. When you're working on a single color, after you join, you're at the top of that post. I don't know if you can see that easily, but that's the top of the post. I like to get myself over into the next space. So usually that's a slip stitch. For this first one, I slip stitch right into that space, grab the yarn, pull through, and now I'm in that space. So as I work up, as I chain up and continue with this color, it's in that space, and it just leaves it a much nicer, it just lays better and looks much better in the pattern. And then you're right there. So you would just chain up your 3, you would do a second double crochet in that spot, which you'll learn this in the next color in just a second, and then you continue on working around. Okay, so now we've finished that row. I just want to show you the second row, how it would be to join it up. So now we'll say we've gotten to the second row, we're ready to join. We're going to count 1, 2, 3. We're going to jump into that. I'm going to throw a slip stitch in. There you go. Now, because each one of these was 2 stitches, we want to get over to this chain 1 space. So what we're going to do is we're going to slip right in there. We're going to slip into the stitches and chain up and slip stitch across. Slip stitch. And then we're to the space. We're just going to go right in there and slip stitch. And now you see we're in that space in between the 2. That will be the chain space that we had made in the previous row. And now we can start chaining up. Okay, now to add on a color, we are going to find one of the spaces in between our double crochets. I like to do it pretty close to where we ended off so that I can work that tail in and not have to sew it in later. We're going to bring our color up, we're going to fold it over, we're going to grab it with our hook and just pull it through one of those spaces. Now the way I like to do this is probably different from what most people do. I grab both of those strands and I slip stitch. I pull it tight, I drop down the tail, and I just do chain 1, 2, and 3. And then I flip this over. I've said this in other videos that I've done. Not everybody likes to join this way. Do it whatever way you're comfortable with. What I do is I take the new color and the old color, the tails from both, and I do a knot. I actually tie 2 knots. You don't have to. Especially with a yarn like this, you're never ever going to see that. We are going to gather up our little tails. We're going to hold them to the back side as we go so that they get worked in. And now we're going to put 2 double crochet in each space. So we did a chain 3. We're now going to add a double crochet into that same spot. We're going to chain 1, and we are going to find our next double crochet from the row before, and we're going to put 2 double crochets between that and the next one. We do 2. We chain 1, and we find that next double crochet from the row before. We go in between that and the next one. We grab the yarn, we do 2 more double crochets. Chain 1. Yarn over into the next spot. Grab the yarn. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We do that again. Chain 1. For the end of this row, we should have a total of 24 because we had 12 on the first, so we should have 24. Yarn over, in through, grab the yarn, pull through 2. Yarn over. Okay, chain 1, yarn over, in through 2, there we go, chain 1, yarn over. We're going to do this all the way around. Chain 1 and 2 in each space. Okay, so now we've got 2 double crochet in between each one of our previous single double crochets. Now we are going to look at our chain 3 that we started with. We're going to count up 1, 2, and 3. And we're just going to slip right into that chain, grab our yarn, pull it through, and pull it through for a slip stitch. Now we're going to pull our yarn out. snip it off, pull it through, and tighten. So we're going to put our hook through. We're going to grab that yarn, giving ourselves a little tail. We're going to pull it through, holding both pieces of the new color. I'm going to slip stitch, so I'm just going to grab the yarn, pull it through, pull it a little tight, drop that tail, and I'm going to chain up 3. There we go. Now I'm going to pull this so I have a little working room. It won't pull out. And I'm going to flip this over. First, I'm going to tie these two together. Again, join how you like to join. This is just how I like to join. Now the pattern changes a little bit. So now we've chained up our 3. We're going to do a double crochet. And one more. And then we're going to chain 1. And that's the pattern the rest of the way around this row. We're going to skip over 2 and work into every chain space, and we're going to put 3 double crochet and a chain 1. And that's this row's pattern. We're going to do 3 double crochets and a chain 1, keeping our tails tucked. Chain 1, we're going to do our 3rd double crochet. We're going to chain 1. Now we're going to find our chain 3 here. 1, 2, 3. We're just going to slip in there, pull it through, slip stitch it. We snip, pull it through, tighten it. So we're going to grab our tails and we're going to tuck them behind here and hold them with our top row. So now we're in this chain space. We're going to do the same pattern as the row before, where we just put in 3 double crochet and a chain 1. We work our tails in, 3 double crochet in every chain space and a chain 1 in between. Tuck that little guy behind. Okay, now we're going to count up 1, 2, 3. We're going to join there with a slip stitch. Pull it through, tighten, give yourself a tail, snip, pull through, and tighten. And now we are going to start with a corner. So we've got a chain 3. We're going to do 2 more double crochet, okay, 2 more double crochet for a total of 3. We're going to chain 1, and then we are going to do 3 more double crochet right into that same spot. Just like that. You can see that's a corner, just as if you were doing a granny square. That's your corner. We're going to chain 1. In the next space, we're going to do 3 double crochet, holding our tails in. Oh my goodness. All right. Finish that double crochet. There we go. Chain 1. And in this next spot, we're going to put in another corner. So 3. All double crochet. Oh, all double crochet. 3 double crochet, chain 1, and 3 more double crochet. Okay, so we did our corner, we chained 1, so now we're going to do another cluster. By cluster I mean 3 double crochet, chain 1, and now we're going to do another corner. 3 double crochet, a chain 1 or a chain 2 if you prefer, and then 3 more double crochet in that same spot, and that's our corner. Okay, chain 1, and then we do another cluster in this one. I don't know what that fuzzy is. There we go. Okay. Okay, chain 1. We just continue that all the way around. Okay, we're on this last cluster. Before we reattach, 3 double crochet and a chain 1, and then we count up 1, 2, 3, and go right into that top, pull it through, pull tight, give us some working yarn there, snip. Okay, so now this is where you have to pay attention to your pattern as you continue to add squares. As you can see, we're in a space 1 between the plain cluster and the corner cluster. For this, we're going to do just a plain cluster of 3 double crochet. Okay, so that's what goes in there. Then we are going to chain 1, and we're going to go in the chain space, or 2 chain spaces if that's how you did it, in the corner, and we are going to add another corner. In every corner, you do a corner. In any of the other chain spaces, you just do a cluster. Chain 1 and 3 more double crochets in that same spot. Okay, we got 3, we need 1 more. Then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to, while still holding our tails, going to do another cluster in this spot. Chain 1. So in every corner, in the chain space of every corner cluster, or every corner, you're going to do another corner. In all the other spaces in between those corners, you're just going to do a cluster. And that is the entire pattern of adding on extra rows to this. In this next one, in the first row we had corner, cluster, corner. Second row we're going to have corner, cluster, cluster, corner. So I'm going to do a little bit more with you here, and then I'll meet you at the end. Okay. I'm going to do 2 more double crochet. Chain 1. Now we're at a corner, so we're going to do another corner. So 3 double crochet, chain 1, and 3 more double crochet. Chain 1, another cluster, another cluster, chain 1, another corner, so another corner, chain 3 more, chain 1, and now we count up 1, 2, 3. We go in, we're going to pull this through, and that's it. Please like and subscribe. It really makes a huge difference.